work211. Okay, let us start our second today's lesson. So today is 10th of December 2020, and now we have the third lesson according to the timetable. The third lesson, the continuation, the second part of the 29th lesson in our computer science and engineering course, the laboratory work. So now let us return to Microsoft Visual Studio 2010 in Form 1 Designer. Okay, so this is a designer, Form 1H designer, but let us open the code of this designer. So let us open the file with the code. Okay. So let us open the file with the code. So here is the designer of this Form 1H. So let us open the code of Form 1H, which corresponds to this form designer. Okay, so let us open it. So I press and so open with. Okay, so now it is opened with the help of designer, so defaultly, по умолчанию, defaultly. So, but now it is necessary to open with the help of the editor of the source code. Okay, let us open. Okay, the same is opened with the help of code editor. Okay, so what we see? So we see the directive pragma once. The directive pragma once. Where is the end of this directive? Okay, so the pragma region and pragma end region. Okay. So here we have the namespace with the name form 1, namespace. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inclusions, the namespaces of C++ CLI language. So these are namespaces of .NET framework system, Windows.NET framework. So the namespace system component model, the namespace system collections, the namespace system Windows forms, the namespace system data, the namespace system drawing. Okay, so 6 namespaces. So the namespace, this is a set of classes, the set of some interfaces, some data in the form of fields and properties and a lot of. Okay, so after the inclusion of these namespaces, so in this namespace of our project Form 1, so we have the main class, the class with the same name, like it is used in Java. So Form H, Form 1, here is Form 1. So, and this class is derived from the class form of the namespace system Windows form, the global name of the namespace and the name of the class. So this class is derived. So this is a child, in other words, of this parent class. This class is the class of the framework system, .NET framework. Okay, so and this is the parent class of our form. Okay, so which this is a declaration of this class, the declaration of this class. So here we have the constructor, the name of the constructor coincides with the name of the form. Okay, so in the constructor, the function initialize component is called. So, and it is possible to add something in the constructor manually. Okay, so this component is public. Okay, so and protected components. So the protected components cannot used for in other places of the program, in other classes. So the destructor coincides with the name of the class, but before we have tilde, the destructor. So if components, delete components, so the deletion of the memory. Okay, so and private components. So which private component? The variable. So in this C++ CLI language, common language infrastructure, C++ common language infrastructure language. So the variables must be accompanied but with this head. So head components, the variable component of which type? Of the type of the container. The container class is a member of component model, system component model namespace of this namespace, system component model. Okay, so now in the destructor you see that if components means that components not zero, so something are in these components, so is true, in other words, so if condition logical is true, must be true. Okay, so delete components. It is necessary to delete all the components. So all the components of our application. So which components? The form and all the controls. Now only the form exists. Only the form exists. So and pragma region, pragma directive, pragma region. So this is the code written by the designer. So you see the function initialize component, this function which is called in the constructor. Okay, so what is placed in this component, initialized component? So this, what does it mean this? This, it means the pointer of the window, the pointer of the form, this form. When we create the form, so we create the pointer this, so this. So the operator arrow like in dynamical creation. So and this components. So the creation of the container, GC new container, the member of the system component model namespace. So the container, so the possibility to place in the window in the form the controls, the container. So the size 30, the size of the form. So the headline, form 1. So with L means long. So when long is placed before some string, it means that you use Unicode. So we considered the coding text information. So in ASCII table, it is not necessary to use more than 1 byte, but with the help of 1 byte, so 8 bits, it is possible to code only 256 symbols. But in the world, there are a lot of symbols. For this purpose, for example, 2 bytes coding is used, 4 bytes, so-called Unicode system, long, more than 1 byte. For this purpose, the prefix L is used before. So this is text in Unicode. So it is possible in this place to put any sentence. For example, in Chinese hieroglyphs, in Japanese, in Arabic, and in other language. Okay, so Unicode with Unicode symbols. So with the help of a set of numbers which corresponds to the symbols of Unicode table. So you may open Unicode in internet and find the corresponding page of Unicode which corresponds to your own language. So, and the set of the numbers which correspond to the letters of your native alphabet. Okay, so the padding of the form and the auto scale mode, the font. And here is the end. Here is the end of the declaration of the class form 1, and with the semicolon. Yes, after the declaration of the class must be placed semicolon in C++. And the end of the declaration of namespace. Let us return to the CPP file. So here in CPP file, you see that we create the object of this class form 1 of the namespace form 1. Okay, with the help of garbage collection you operate. Okay, I told you that in Java it is not necessary to delete something, So for this purpose, the garbage collection is used. Okay, we only create and it is deleted automatically with the help of so-called garbage collection. So all we create, all the memory, so trapped into the so-called managed heap. Okay, so and in this managed heap, the garbage collection is realized in Java. But this language C++/CLI, CLI means Common Language Infrastructure. So all programmers said a lot of bad words about this language. So C++, CLI. So this is the intermediate language. So between between C++ and C#, but C# and C++ CLI this language. So it is not the C, it is not C++, it is the developed Java. It is developed Java. When you learn C, when you learn C++, so C++ CLI, it is not understandable for you. Okay, so it is Java, but if you learn Java, so you will see that it is typical Java. Okay, so Microsoft takes this Java and made its own platform with the name .NET Framework. So the .NET Framework, it is like Java. Okay, but Microsoft version of Java. Okay, so here we create the object of this class, and this is the running of application. This is the running of application. So like in Java, the main function and the inclusions, the import, and before main function, the main class, here the namespace, so here is inclusion of this namespace before the main function. In the main function, like it is used in Java, so we only create the object of this class. Okay, so this is the designer in the form of the code. Now let us return to the designer itself, Okay, so how to create the application? So here we have the panel of elements, panel elementa. So here are the set of standard controls, the pointer, the button. So how to create the button, for example, in form designer. In form design. Sorry. So we so we add the handler. We add the handler. It is not necessary. Okay. So let us return. Let us return. Okay. So let us return to our designer. To our designer. Okay. So let's return. Okay. So let me open one more time. Yes. So from the panel of elements, I press this place and I drag and drop it with the help of mouse in the form. So and now we have a button. We have a button in the form. Okay, so now it is necessary to put here, for example, the text field. So this is all the elements. Okay, so now let us open the standard elements. So the button and the text field. Where is the text box? Okay, so here is the text box. Let us drag and drop it. Okay, so you have the helping alignment lines. Okay, so for example here, now we have button and we have the text box. So now let us open the designer. Open this I'm sorry, this form H file with the help of the code editor. Open with the help, not with the help of the designer, but with the help of source code. Okay, so what happens? What happens in Pragma region? So instead of container, so you see that what happens. Okay, so what happens? Okay, so in the class among the private protected components, we have the appearance of the variable of button and variable of text box. So the designer creates this text manually, so by the designer. The button of the type of the button class of system Windows for namespace and the text box, the object of the text box class of namespace system Windows forms namespace. Okay. So, and in this Pragma region, yes, so created by designer, we see that so we have the button appearance, the button in the window. This we have the button. So and button location, the coordinates of the button. Okay, the upper left corner. So the name of the button, the name, the size of the button, the width and the height, the index of tabulation, the text, okay, and the text is not the same as the name. So this is the name like ID, and this is the text in the button. So it is possible to change the text, but it is possible to change the name, but the name it is like ID, and the text it is the text which we see in the button, written in the button. So and the color and the color. So the same with the text box. So the location, yes, the name, the size, and the tabulation index, if it is possible to tabulate. Okay, so what happens here? So control add text box and add button like it is common in Java. So this the variable of the window add controls add, this controls add. Okay, so the name, the text, the same, resume layout false. Okay, because we would not use layout, we use the absolute placing, okay, in coordinates, and perform layout. Okay, so it is all. So now it is possible to put something in this text box. So when we press the button, how? It is necessary, let us open one more time the editor. Okay, the editor. It is possible to put here after this end region, after the declaration of, after the creation of the interface, okay, this region, after this, here to put here the handler of the event. Which event? We will press the button. How to put? Manual. It is possible to type manually, but it is necessary first to learn net framework system library. What is the handler of this event? Okay, so how it appears, it is necessary to go to the internet. Yes, but now it is possible only to use it in designer. So let us return to the designer. So how to add the handler of the event? It is necessary to only to press the button. Now I will press it and nothing happens. Okay, maybe it is necessary to press twice. Double click, left button, double click. Let me double click. Okay, so and you see that after the this region, okay, so the handler appears automatically. Which handler? Button one click, button one click. So the arrangement is the typical Java arrangement. So let me change the arrangement. So the block of this function, let me arrange like I wish. Okay, so let us renew this. Parents, okay, so and here it is possible to type the text of the handler. What it is necessary to do? It is necessary to place inside the text box. So it is necessary to use this variable text box 1 here. Yes, to use this variable, to place the text. So it is necessary to use the property text. So like it is done here. So the long prefix and the text. Which text? For example, group 211. AI. And that's all. Okay, so let us save. Okay, so and let us press the triangle button, the run. Okay, so yes, let us press. Okay, the compilation window in Russian. Okay, so yes, and a result. Let me show you the result. Okay, so the window, the form. Okay, so this. Okay, let us try again. Maybe second time we will have better viewing. Okay, so let us press the execution button. Okay, so and let me try to show you the result one more time. Ah, very, very bad. Very bad. Okay, so what it is necessary to do? Maybe it is better to close. Okay, so now you see that this is just a window, the form with the name form. It is possible to change the size. Yes. Okay, to change the size. Yes, to yes, even to do this. What happens if you press the button? So the group 211 KI must appear here. So let us press group 211 KI. Okay, so it is easy. It is very easy to create the application with the help of designer, real visual studio, visual. So we have the designer and it is possible to create in the designer. So let us return to the designer and let us try to change the font, for example, the button font. So for this purpose, we have the property window. So it is necessary to click right button of the mouse. So, and here to select properties in Russian свойства, properties. So we have the property window, the properties of button, now the properties of text box, now the properties of the total form. So let us change the font. Let us change the font of this message button 1. So where is the font? Here is the font. Okay, so here is the font. So let us open the font window and let us select, for example, Georgia, for example, Georgia, the italic and bold italic, if it is possible, bold italic, okay. And press OK. So now you see Georgia button 1 italic. Okay, so it is possible to change the so the same, we return to our handler. So what we did, so we let us make the same as we did in Java and in Visual C++ window. Okay, so let us first in first pressing the button, let us put group 211, and second, let us erase with the help of if operator. But how to realize this mechanism? Okay, so let us create the buffer of the string type. So string the buffer. Okay, so let us obtain the text, sorry, the buffer, the text from the text box in the buffer. Okay, the text, it is a property. Property, it is a variable, it is a data, it is a field, like a field. But we have fields, we have properties. Property, it is a variable, so it is not a function. Text, it is the property, so-called property. So here are properties, the variables. So the text, we obtain the text, we put the text into the, I'm sorry, not bus, but buffer. Okay, so, and now if, okay, so it is necessary to call the buffer length, the property length. Okay, if the buffer length is 0, so we put something in text box else, we put nothing. Okay, so text box. Nothing. Okay, so let us save and let us start again. Okay, something wrong. Let us see the mistake. Okay, so it is necessary to put the head. I told you that the variables must accompany with the head. Okay, the head. Okay, so let us save again. Let us start again. Okay, so let us see the result. Okay, so first time I press the button, so group211 appears, second time, so nothing appears. So the result is the same. Okay, so let us close, let us return to the designer. Let us return to the designer. Okay, so the designer. Let us open the designer. So now the window of properties is opened. So now let us go to the workspace window. So let us press, oh, we have here, okay, the designer. Okay, let us change the color, for example. Let us change the color of the button. For example, red. So it is necessary, okay, so to return to the properties and the property of the button. So the color, back color. Okay, so the color. So this is a system's colors, system. This is internet colors. Okay, so this is the direct color. So for example, the red. The red. So, and let us change the color of the font. The color of the font. Okay, so the color of the font. So the properties of the font. Okay, so this is my antivirus. Okay, so for example, text color, how to change for color. Okay, so which color? For example, white. Button one. Okay, so it is possible to change the color very easy. For example, let us change the color of the text box. Now the text box properties is open. So the color, for example, which color? For example, this gradient active caption. Okay, but it is necessary, for example, to change the color of the text of the font in text box. Okay, so for color, which color? For example, info color. Okay, so nothing happens if we now press, because this is only designer, this is not a working program. So all these changes are reflected in the header file. Okay, so if we open the text, so now we see that button one font is now Georgia. Okay, so with italic, bold, and so on. Italic, this is a property of font style class of system drawing namespace. Okay, so the bold is the property of font style of system drawing namespace, and so on. All the changes we do so reflects immediately in the code. So this is the designer, let us, designer generated code. Okay, so designer generated code. Yes, so what it is possible to do? To change the color of the window. For example, color, for example, the window color, for example, this color, or maybe green color. Okay, let us, for example, green color. Okay, so let us check in the code. So this must changes. This itself, back color lime. The lime is a property, is a variable property of the color class of system drawing namespace. Okay, so now let us start this developed window. So press the green triangle and let us try to obtain the result. Okay, so let me show you the result. Yes, so our window with this button, so it is possible to change the text. Okay, now let us press and let us obtain group 211 KI. Yes, so the result is the same. Okay, so let us close it. Okay, so it is possible to write. Okay, so this is modern programming. So it is called visual programming. So now we have Visual Studio. It is real visual C++ CLI, Windows Forms. The same method. Okay, so let us delete this bad line. Okay, because it is really bad for the viewing. Okay, so let us return to our standard color. So which color is standard? Okay, so let me, this is internet. Okay, scroll bar. So active border. Okay, so active border. Okay, it is better. Okay, active border. Okay, maybe let us select just white. Okay. Yes, so it is possible to create with the help of this designer. So the same is realized in Java, the same is realized in modern Android IDEs and Visual Studios. So this is the modern programming. So you have the designer, and with the help of designer, it is possible to drag and drop something. For example, to drag and drop drag bar, for example, here, drag bar. Okay, so, and to use drag bar to do something. So click twice. Okay, and you see the handler of drag bar appearance in the end. So drag bar scroll, for example, it is possible to put here the text of the handler of this event, drag bar scroll. Okay, so let us yes, let us return. Okay, so and okay, so let it be line. Okay, so and so in this way it is possible to create any interface with a lot of track bars, with a lot of labels, combo boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, and other elements. It is possible to use the layout here, to arrange this controls, not absolutely, but relatively, so to universally locate them in any device. Okay, so this designer is realized in Java, in Android, and in any modern programming media. Okay, so it was Microsoft Visual Studio. So now let us stop this topic, let us save, let us close the Microsoft Visual Studio, and let us return to our Visual C++, to our Visual C++ first steps. It was the third step. It was the third step. The control events. Okay, so, but now let us go to the 12th step, 12th or 10th step, the painting in the window, the painting. Okay, so let me find the link. Okay, so it is not a link. So the link is absent here, so it is necessary to return in our previous, one of our previous topics, the link. For example, the link, the first window project. Sorry, first window project. This is first window project. Let us, okay, so let us enter again. Let us return to the first window project. Yes, first window project. Here we have the link to first step through. So in English, for example. So let us put here 10, the 10th step. Okay, so draw in the window. How to draw in the window? Okay, so this is the window with 3 controls. Okay, so how to draw? How to draw line, for example, how to put text into the window. Okay, directly into the window, not in the label, not to create the label, but how to put text into the frame, not into the control, but into the frame, how to draw, how to put text. It is possible to draw in the window, for example, to draw here, for example, something to draw here, but how to draw in the frame, This is our next topic. So this is a step 10 of first steps through. This is a translation from Russian to English. Okay, and now the explanation how to draw. But let me open my book. So let me open my book first. It is possible to perform it in just reviewed Microsoft Visual Studio 2010, but let us return to the Microsoft Visual C++ 6.0. Okay, so let me open Microsoft Visual C++ 6.0. Yes, and now I will show you. Okay, so Microsoft Visual C++. Let us create a new project. So Windows 32 application. So the name, which name, for example, the paint window. Okay. Finish, okay, and project, add to project, new source, C++ source file. Let the name be the same, paint window. Okay, press OK. So here it is possible to put the text. So now we have the file view. So the paint window project and the source file paint window CPP is here. So the header files are absent and resource files are absent. Only one source file, paint window CPP. Okay, so here it is necessary to put the text. So let us return to our Moodle, to the Moodle. So let us open Moodle and separate place. Okay, so computer science and engineering first course. Okay, so and let us take only our window, only our window. Okay, so controls in Java. Okay, let us return to the lecture. The events of the frame, lecture 13, the events of the frame. Okay, so let us take the frame creation, only the frame creation. So this listing, the frame creation. Okay, press Ctrl C. Let us return to Microsoft Visual 6.0. Okay, and let us test. Okay, press compile. Okay, we obtain the objective file with the same name 0 error 01, and let us build building or linking. 3 errors. Which errors? So it is necessary to use MFC. So let us go to project settings. Instead of not using MFC, it is necessary to put use MFC in a static library. Okay, so now let us execute, let us link. Okay, link is successful. And let us execute and obtain the frame. So the